So we ready? Barb, are you going to swing us on into this?
Yeah, what the hell are we going to talk about? And welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Bow Divas. We've been away for a little bit. Holidays, illness, a lot of stuff going on. Annalesha's here with me.
Hey.
And so is Julie Griggs.
Hello.
And I am Barbara, your hostesses
with the mostesses.
Hostesses with the mostesses. So, here we go. Thanks, everybody, for being patient, though. So, I think one of the topics we decided to touch on today was the Iowa Pro-Am. Julie and Annalesha just attended that event in Iowa. Where is it? Des Moines. So, tell us a little bit. It was a pretty big indoor tournament, if nobody's familiar with it.
It's the largest Pro-Am in the United States. Is the way I heard it on Facebook, they were kind of promoting it a little bit. It's the largest Pro-Am in the United States.
Right.
So, and it
was 500 or 600 people, wasn't it?
There was a lot.
Over 600 is what I was thinking they were saying. Yeah. It's a pretty big deal. It's kind of the kickoff. I know the Midwest Open's more the kickoff, but for me, since I don't go to the Midwest Open, the Iowa's always like the first big tournament.
Right.
So anyway, Julie did fabulous. Do you want to talk about that, Julie?
Okay. I wouldn't say fabulous. I just happened to have a decent enough day, and everybody else had a bad enough day or weekend.
You had a very
balance it out.
Strong showing.
The first day on Saturday, the 5 spot, the 360 round, I felt like I shot really well. And I know I'm going to catch hell for this because, always blame Vince. Poor Vince. Everything is always blamed on Vince. But I was shooting really solid. I felt like my shots were breaking clean, and I felt confident and relaxed. And he didn't shoot this weekend, so he was spectating, and he came down to talk to me. And I don't know how far we were. I think we were about halfway or close to halfway, and he said, "You've only dropped 4."
Aww.
And just kind of in the course of the conversation, well, that planted the seed.
Well, first of all, he said the word 4.
Yeah.
Which is not allowed.
That's Annalesha's pet peeve.
That's right. Don't say the word 4.
You don't even say it.
And I was keeping score. I was one of the scorekeepers. Nashawn Thompson and Sissy Graham and a gentleman named Josh. I can't remember his last name. We were all on the same bail together. Nashawn was calling. Josh was writing scores, and I was writing scores, and Sissy was from Denmark.
Yeah, I met her, too. I shot with her today,
Yeah,
too.
she was really nice, and so she was kind of just watching everything. And Vince can't understand how I can write down scores and have no clue what everybody's doing, including myself.
I am with you.
And I knew I was doing well. I knew I was shooting solid, but I had no idea
really
what my points
keeping track.
were.
You weren't like
it's more
tallying.
You see your target and it looks good.
Yeah.
You're not really keeping track of what the words that are coming out of the people's mouths are saying.
They're just saying, 6, 6, 6, 5, or whatever. And I'm just writing it. And I wasn't, no running totals or anything. I just write it down, drop the clipboard.
Yep.
Pull my arrows and go back and get ready to shoot again. And he cannot comprehend how I can do that. I could do it on a 3D tournament too. I can just turn it on and off. If I want to keep track of my points, I can. And if I don't, I just shut it off and I don't pay attention to it. So that little seed was planted. Oh, okay, well, that's how good I was actually doing. And then I started, 4 6s and a 5, 4 6s and a 5, and I started leaking points throughout the rest of the day. And, and like I said, he gets... Well, I get flack, I guess I should say, for me blaming him, for planting those seeds. But really, I don't think it was him, but I'm going to, blame it on him anyway, just for the fun of it. But no, it was good. And I felt like I said, I felt like I shot strong. I felt like my shots were breaking well. My grip hand, I really fight it a lot on keeping it relaxed and just letting the bow do its thing and everything. It all felt like it came together pretty well that day. Then the next day on Sunday was a completely different story. I don't know if it was just a little bit of tension or whatever. It just, the arrows were not going center. I dropped a bunch of points on Sunday on the Vegas
So
face.
did you know where you were standing coming in on
I
day
did.
2?
Yeah.
Sometimes I dislike knowing where I stand on day 2. And
you mean as
always
far as, you mean where you're standing as far as how you're stacking
ranked
up against the others?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like how many points apart.
Well, and I guess I try not to know, but never fails. Somebody comes up and goes, "Oh, you're in."
Well, and Facebook and some of the social media, man,
it's hard to know.
Yeah, it's hard to not know. I mean, you almost have to shut off your phone,
right?
Because people get on there almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
You know, at least a lot of the people I'm in friend group, and that's, you know, I don't have a problem with people doing that, but I know what you're saying. If you're too consumed with the score,
right,
it takes your focus off what it needs to be.
Yeah,
maybe.
And it felt really good. I was in third going into Sunday for the Vegas round, and there was only 3 points between the leader and myself, and I was tied with someone else for third. We both shot a 346 on the first day, and the leader shot a 349. So it's not like anybody really
it was not like a
big
huge difference,
right? And I don't know that I guess I'm trying to say I didn't really feel like overly nervous or anxious or panicky on the second day, because I've been practicing a lot on the Vegas face, and I felt really confident with it. But I think what I'm discovering, I'm shooting fat shaft arrows, and at my draw length and everything, sometimes, they can be very critical if you have any form flaws or anything. And when I'm relaxed, I'm pounding it. But I think what Sunday revealed was you throw in just a little bit extra tension. And, and I know I've got some form flaws. You're tense, your shots aren't breaking, whatever, that I still need to work on. But I think I was just missing a lot of points, or I was dropping points because of that, because those arrows are so unforgiving. So I'm going to go back and go to a smaller shaft.
Before Vegas.
See, if they're a little more forgiving and that sort of thing, and just kind of play around with things. And I've always kind of had a little bit of doubt in the back of my mind with the 27 shafts,
right?
That they're not going to be quite as forgiving enough, even though the elites like a stiffer shaft, stiffer spine. Still, for me, as short of a draw length as I have, I'm not sure it equals itself out just enough. So I'm going to drop down on spine and shaft size. And
what do you think you're going to try to shoot?
I don't know. Right now, we've got some fat boys that I'm going to play with this week and see how things go with those.
Do you think that, I know you said beforehand that you had gotten a few books, some self-help, do you think any of that played into some of your mindset going into this tournament?
I think so. I went in I was excited. I was happy because I'm like, I finally get to shoot again. And I felt confident and I felt calm on day one. And like I said, on day two, I must have had just enough nerves, but I wasn't really picking up on them. I kind of, I was catching a little bit of a kick up on my bow on a lot of my shots, and I missed several of my shots high. So,
were you pushing maybe with your hand a little bit?
I think so, probably just overcompensating a little bit. Mentally, so that stuff that I've been reading and listening to podcasts and everything, I think that has really boosted my self-confidence in my shooting and increased positive self-talk when I'm on the line. It's like, I missed that one or whatever. And like on the Vegas face, it got to the point where if I'd hit one high or whatever, I'd start laughing and just kind of shake my head and like, because all you can do is...
You didn't look crazy on the line, did you? You're laughing at yourself.
I don't know. Talking about my bald eye, but that wasn't crazy at all. But yeah, I really do think that the
Denmark gal really liked this, let me tell you.
We need to get into that in a little bit. But the mental game aspect of it, and I've really been doing a lot of homework on that, I do think it made a big difference. So now my outlook is, I shot a really crappy first day in Illinois, and I shot a really good Vegas day. And I shot a really good Vegas day in Des Moines and a really crappy Vegas day. So I'm hoping one of these other ones coming up,
2 days, put
pulling
them together.
Pulling 2 good days together is going to come
Well,
together.
that's sort of the challenge that with a lot of these shoots. I mean, even the ASAs that are 2-day shoots, it's putting the two together.
Yeah.
That really, honestly, gets tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a great one day and you got to do it twice.
Yeah.
2 days. And
staying mentally tough and mentally focused like that is a hard thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm working on it, and
Yeah,
I'm really
and it's
excited. I
showing.
feel real happy and confident with what's going on
So
right now.
what books did you read specifically? I think you've mentioned them before, haven't you? Or
the last one was when we interviewed
the golf,
Megan Freeman,
right?
And Golf is Not a Game of Perfect. And I've listened to. I got it on audio, and I've listened to it about 3 or 4 times.
Have you?
It's really. It only takes a couple of hours. Well, when you have an hour commute to work and an hour home, you can go through it pretty quick. So I've listened to it several times, and there are so many correlations that you can make out of what he's talking about golf that will roll over onto archery. I definitely recommend it. I'll share it with you guys. I've tried to get Vince to listen to it, but he's kind of an ADD kind of guy, and it's hard for him to focus.
Yeah.
Poor Vince.
I know.
He was so supportive, though. He didn't shoot, but he sat there and he spotted and watched, and yeah, it was kind of comforting knowing that he was there.
Just gonna say that. Just to have somebody to take off the pressure of looking. And I feel that takes a lot of anxiety off me too. I don't normally have anybody do that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Keith and I usually shoot on the same line, and that's perfectly fine because I'd rather have my day than staying there for 3 hours for me, 3 hours for him, or whatever it ends up
have
being.
it split.
Yeah, I'd rather have our day, the rest of it together and shoot at the same time than have him spot for me. But just having somebody there to spot for me, I've had before, and I have done very well. Just having that little bit of time. I don't know what it is. Taking your binoculars up, looking. You're all in your own head. Somebody can share it with you.
Yeah. That's like, I'd turn around and look at Vince and, I'd smile at him or I'd roll my eyes or whatever, just being stupid. But it really was because usually he and I shoot at the same time. So we don't really have that interaction. Now, years ago, I wouldn't have wanted that interaction with him because I think so much of my mental energy was just focused on trying to figure out what it was that I was supposed to be doing. Now that I've got more experience under my belt, my brain is more free to focus on some other things, and I can appreciate him more now than I would have 3 or 4 years ago even. It was good. I had a good time. It was a good weekend.
Tell us, haven't you been listening to like Dudley and a lot of his information on form? And you even mentioned that, I think, on your Facebook post.
Yes, and I can't remember which episode it was of his that I listened to that really, like, the lights were just exploding in my head. Someone had asked him to walk through specifically what his form is, what is his shot process.
His shot sequence.
Right.
I think I've heard that episode.
And he talks about how he makes sure his feet are the same every time, his grip hand is the same every time, his anchor is the same. And I'm sure he's got other little things that he does that he didn't talk about because we all, there's so many of them. But it was just incredible for me. It was a big eye-opener for him to talk about keep it consistent, and like, pulling the hair. Imagine there's a hair on the top of your head and all you can do is pivot your head. You can't go forward or back or whatever. And
okay, I missed that part of the podcast.
Yeah. Where were you?
I don't know.
And anyway, it makes so much sense to me to hear it in those terms because, like, if you're doing a science experiment, you want to keep everything constant.
Right.
And if you're experimenting, you only want to change one variable at a time. Well, if you know that you're very consistent with your foot placement or you're consistent with your grip, then when something does kind of goof up or whatever, you can kind of start that process of elimination of figuring it out. And it's nice when the nerves are on and you're a little keyed up, you've got that consistency to rely on.
Well, and Megan brought that up too, especially when she gets nerved up, that she just really kind of just tries to slow everything down and very sort of methodically start to tick off her shot sequence. And I think she's the first one who's really talked a lot about that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, and I'm guilty of it too, don't have, I mean, have you ever written down your shot sequence?
No.
I have tried.
I've tried too, but
Yeah, but I'm not going to anymore because it would just
feel
be
like,
crazy.
Seriously, I've said this before, the less I have to think about, or even when I'm practicing, the least amount of things I have to think about is what I want. I don't want to I don't like to do a running total because I don't like to stand there and add it. I don't want my brain cluttered with anything beyond
shoot the arrow.
I do like talking to the ladies and having a good time because I feel like that relieves a lot of pressure for new people or just we get to see each other every great once in a while. I like that camaraderie, and it eases everybody's tension, I think, a little bit. But I don't like to clutter my thought with much about archery. Seriously, I just don't like it. I like to go out there and do my own in my head, but it's not a whole. Oh, I just lost an ear. I can't hear out that ear.
Uh-oh. You sound great to me.
Okay. I can hear you out of both ears. Okay. Did it?
Anyway, so I just like to keep it pretty simple. But I think that going up there into Iowa for myself, I didn't. It came back.
Oh, okay.
For myself, I didn't go with any mental management prep. I feel like going back to work and some of the things have been going on in life, I feel like that was the last thing I had time for. So I think that if I had had some time to do some of that mental management, just listen to even the one I have on audio would have helped, I think. And I didn't go in with that.
Well, and you were, and part of the reason we're delayed in podcasting is because you were sick last week, legitimately sick. And so that was really just a few days prior.
Yeah.
And then in talking to a lot of the women had the same exact thing while we were up there. Yes. Yeah. And they had it just a few days before too.
Yeah. And I think that totally affected you for the weekend.
There were some things. Yeah. I don't think it's all that because my practice hasn't been going great, but yeah, there's been a lot of things going on that I just didn't have time to think about archery. It really had taken a back seat to life a little bit.
Yeah. That happens sometimes.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Sure does.
I did have a lot of time to reflect on how. I mean, okay, I didn't shoot tremendously bad. I'm not gonna beat myself up about my Saturday score. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. It wasn't what I normally shoot, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I had a lot of time to reflect Saturday. My son got up at like 1:00 in the morning and I couldn't get back to sleep for the life of me. So I just sat there running through my head. Okay, tomorrow, just take it easy. Just go back to what's comfortable. And I shot a lot better on Sunday. And I was more pleased with my shot process. I mean, I had one target that, I just knocked the center out of, and I just spit. I just did. I even like folded the other two back behind and just left the one, and I was wearing it as a belt buckle because I was so proud of it. I mean, and there's things like that, just releasing all the stress I had, just feeling like, okay, my life isn't falling completely apart because of this tournament, this silly tournament, so I kind of walked around with that for a few minutes, but I shot really well. I mean, I had a couple of arrows that just didn't want to cooperate with me, and that's where I'm going to leave that. But yeah, I wished I had shot better, but I didn't, so it's fine. I'm on to the next one. I'm ready for Vegas. We're shooting the Overton Open this weekend. It's kind of ran like the Lancaster.
Oh, yeah.
Where you have to do it's like eliminations, yeah.
Yep, that's how they run it.
That'd
and
cool. If we don't get a massive ice storm.
That's what I was going to say. We're due for a big old dose of winter.
How many people show up to that one?
I went last year. His line was full. I don't know how many that would be. It's quite a few. maybe like 50 some.
And then in a couple of weeks, the Kansas City shootout.
There's the Kansas City shootout.
So 21st and 22nd.
Yeah.
Of January.
So this will be this podcast will come out this Thursday. So there actually is still time to register.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think late registration is January 17th, or am I mixing that up with something else?
I think you're talking about Vegas.
I might be.
Oh.
I just know that 17th is in my mind. Maybe it's Vegas. I'm like,
we talked about that before we had the electric alligator.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've forgotten a lot since the electric alligator.
We were talking about that, and then we were like, wow, we feel good.
These are good. I want more.
I know. So,
I was going to see if I could find the Pro-Am, but
yeah,
it's typically a big tournament.
It's a really nice one, and I'm glad it's back at the PAC Center. I don't know how you all feel about that, but I like the spectators being able to sit up above.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like it is a comfortable setting. We've gone there quite a few. Last year they had switched it up. We were close to the KCI airport, and it was a little different, little airier, larger room, less light.
Yeah. And it's right up the road from Rancho Grande.
Oh, and there's that.
That's the best part right there.
Jack Moulton's coming down from South Dakota, a friend of mine that used to be on staff with OK Archery, and he wants to go to a good barbecue. One of the evenings he would like to go out to dinner with us. So I need to hunt that down.
There you go. Barb, any ideas? Good archery.
Good
archery, good barbecue.
Depends on where you want to go. I mean, you want to stay, I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. What's over there by Park? Is he staying in Parkville?
I assume. Yeah. I offered up the Glamper, but well, it was kind of funny. We went up to South Dakota.
You could make a few nickels doing that.
I know.
Rent the Glamper.
I heard that there's a thing like that.
Yeah.
It's like not like kind of like Uber, but there's another thing like you can rent out maybe rooms in your house. What's that called?
Oh, Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Yeah,
People are putting their glampers up on that. I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't want anybody in my driveway, but
of course, Toby.
I'm not letting them take it anywhere.
Toby has shared that darn thing a million times on Facebook, and I'm trying
no cousin Eddie in your driveway.
Trying to find it real quick, and I can't find it.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But no, I offered that up. We had gone up to South Dakota a couple years ago for the Dakota Classic, I believe. I think it was the Dakota Classic or the Worlds. Those all get mushed together. It wasn't Worlds, it was Dakota Classic. And they let us stay in their camper. And they have a very large, nice camper. So I told him he could stay in ours, and he didn't take me up on it. So apparently mine's not good enough, but whatever. I can live on. But, yeah, I'm excited for the Kansas City shootout. I mean, of course, it's another chance to get to hang out with friends. So
yeah.
There's that.
I'm excited for that, too. I still need to register. We haven't registered for Vegas or the shootout, either one.
This
but
was
you got your
something...
hotel room booked for Vegas. Yeah.
She put this like on yesterday. Still room. Early registration is through the 17th. So that is...
right.
Oh, okay.
So you better figure out Vegas then.
There's still room on all three lines, and time is ticking. Early registration is still through the 17th. Here's the updated registration list.
Has anyone talked to her whether we can have a booth? Are we going to try that or no?
No, I haven't talked to her.
Oh, I don't know because of...
I'll just stalk people with my phone. We don't need a whole booth.
There you go. Just
do we?
Do Facebook Live and go for it.
We could do some Facebook Live, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I was planning on going that. I was actually going to try to drive up to Iowa, but Jim's just, we've had a lot going on.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
I could have made some extra money though when my daughter decided to have a New Year's Eve party. I was going to start to go out in the yard and start charging valet parking fees.
You should have done $1 a shot and let them shoot the
$5
animals out there.
I should have charged them to play beer pong in the.
Well, I noticed our podcast table has some new graffiti.
It does have some new graffiti.
I was trying to read it. It looks like people had a good time.
Yeah,
can't really read the hieroglyphics.
And I think that there's
is this blood or a drink?
No, that's a cocktail. That's a cocktail stain.
That's pretty.
And here's some too, right? Yeah, I saw that there too.
We should just let them do the rest of it. Would have been.
I should have brought down all the big colored markers and see what they. Ooh,
there we
no.
go. Yeah, that would be good. That would be interesting.
Oh no, yeah, no, it wouldn't because then we would
no.
things that boys draw.
Or girls for
Or
that
girls,
matter.
yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, we didn't quite make it up there. So
Yeah, that's okay though. I mean, it's not a far drive for us.
No,
it's what 3 hours.
Yeah, it was
It
just
is.
under 3 hours for us, so
We
that's nice.
Keith and I talked about like location wise. There's so many shooters up north, and we have not so many in Kansas, but there's quite a few in Missouri. So it's a good little location. Everybody's within 3, 4, 5 hours to get to it, and it just makes for.
Well, and there was a lot of big names that showed up for that too.
I thought it was kind of down
Really?
from a few years ago. I didn't think quite as many. I know Jesse Broadwater was there with his Matthews shirt
Rio
on.
Wild was there.
Rio was there.
I got to shoot one bail down from Jesse. I actually spoke to him.
Did you?
I did. The Arrows for Addison, the little young lady from
That passed away.
in December. She had a monkey, a stuffed monkey.
I saw that.
And Christina brought it, and they had a 50-50 pot. They had some pictures, and they kept announcing it. It was very nice, a very nice tribute to the young lady. And so anyway, she had come to me, and she said, I need to get some creative pictures with the monkey, which was a Nene, something, the monkey's name. And so I was like, okay, well, here's Jesse Broadwater walking back and forth right by me. And he's got a young man from Tri-County on his bail. Not that that mattered, but I was just like, well, I mean, I feel like we're friends now. Look, it's like a
I know
circle.
someone that's standing next to you, so now we're friends.
Exactly. So then
Did you explain that rationale to Jesse Broadwater?
No, he may be listening though. So.
I hope he does.
So she came over with the monkey, and I said, why don't you sit it here, like behind him on the little, courtesy table they have for the shooters. Said, sit it right here behind him, and the monkey will look like he's watching him shoot or something. And then maybe when he comes back, get a picture of the monkey sitting next to him. He'll have Jesse Broadwater with the Matthews shirt and everything. Thought that would look cool. Well, of course, I had to take it a step further. I was just like, will you sit by the monkey? Of course, I'm stumbling all over my words. I'm like, Christina Jones.
Because we're now friends, because I know that guy on your bail.
Monkey? Broadwater. That's all I could. No, I'm joking. But no, so I got to speak to him, and that's the first time I've ever spoke to him. So it was kind of cool.
He's actually pretty nice. I mean, Jim stalked him a little bit at one of the pro-ams and
stalked him or talked to him?
Stalked both.
He's very quiet.
Yeah, he is. But
and he seems very humble.
He seems very approachable.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like somebody that you couldn't go talk to or you couldn't have your kid go up to. I think he would be very generous.
Yeah, I think he would totally take a picture.
I did enjoy his pink and blue shoestrings. He has a pink shoestring set in one shoe and blue in the other, and I know those are for his kids. Well, they've spoke about that before. His strings on his bows were designed by his kids, and I think it's pink and blue, and I think that's probably why he has a pink and blue shoelace. But so anyway, that was kind of cool. The Arrows for Addison thing was a pretty.
So is that a fundraiser for like medical bills, or do you know, or?
It was for the family, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure there was
expenses.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some expense there. I mean, the funeral.
I would think so because she was hospitalized for quite some time.
Well, she was home
and then
for a
she
long
was
time.
at home for a while.
But
too.
I know they had to rent like a hospital bed, and
yeah,
I'm sure there were some other medical things.
Well, and somebody would have had to stay there with her, so you've got one or other parent losing income because they have to stay home. So I was curious about that. If there was some sort of maybe memorial fund or something we could promote a little bit for.
There was that 50-50. I'm wondering if she's not going to do the same thing at the KC shootout.
That could be.
I think it is very welcomed.
Well, you know what? If I see her there, I'm sure she'll be at the KC shootout. Maybe we'll try to do some live Facebooking or something.
That would be good. And I thought it was so cool because Ray Manful, who is
I saw that,
won it.
Yeah,
and then he turned around and donated it
back,
which I thought was amazing.
I didn't see that part, but that's even better.
I mean, medical bills, and she's had I'm sure some pretty serious ones. Even with insurance, they just can become astronomical. Mm-hmm. The part that you're responsible for still, and so I can't imagine. That must be really tough for that family. And then and then having medical on top of it.
Well, and I
so.
think this little young lady had touched a lot of people's hearts
She had.
within that.
Did you see
that
how
trend.
wild that whole Arrows for Addison thing went? I mean,
Yeah.
it was going crazy on Facebook.
Yeah.
Tons of people
Did
were
you see the
promoting it.
homemade vase
Yes.
they made? I mean,
Yeah.
everything was just,
They
it was
had
very touching.
Yes, it
they had
was.
tons of I don't know. It went around a lot. It was like almost a viral in the archery community, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So
See how good we are.
I'm pretty
good
sure
people.
even Bow Junkie shared some stuff about it.
Really?
I could have sworn they did. I could
Somebody
have sworn
did.
they shared an article about it.
I don't remember who, Archer or Bow Junkie. Somebody did. There was so much going
I
around.
think Archer did too.
I think I paid more attention to, there's something about Arrows for Addison,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't really pay attention to who was sharing the information. But there was a lot of stuff going around
Mm-hmm.
for her, and it touched my heart. I never got to meet her, but it broke my heart. The whole situation broke my heart, but it really touched my heart, and I'm really proud of the way the archery community stepped up and supported her and supported the family, and
Mm-hmm.
it just shows you what kind hearts people have, and
Right.
there is hope in this nasty world that we're living in right now, that people can be kind.
I know. I wish I could live in my archery friend bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah,
No outside friends can come in.
that's right. Sounds good.
I'm going to make a sign.
No outside friends.
If you ain't archery, you ain't in.
Yeah. So if you want to be my friend, you better start shooting
a bow.
Or be on the same bail with Jesse Broadwater.
Right.
Because now she knows Jesse Broadwater.
Full
so
circle.
if you're on the
Yeah,
bail
we're
with
like
him,
best
now
friends.
you're friends.
Yeah,
God, we
that's
are
right.
best friends.
That's
we
how
talked.
that works.
He
That's
held
how
a
it works.
monkey that I talked about. And I know that Matt Stutzman did too.
Yeah,
Did you
I
see
saw that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hung it around his neck. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he did do something really cute. One of the young ladies that comes to my house every day, and I also am her archery coach. She went up to him and was like, and the mom was like, "Oh, we've been waiting to get a picture with you, or she's been waiting all year to see you again and get a picture with you." And he was like, "Yeah, sorry, I'm late. I was looking for my gloves."
Yeah.
I mean, and he just says
Yeah.
so many cool things like that. Like, and the kids just love him.
Yeah.
You know,
That's hilarious.
He's a cut up. He's
He
quite a
is.
character. I followed him
Just looking for my
into
gloves. though.
Hy-Vee Hall
Yeah.
the first day, and I don't know. I mean, I've seen him and maybe nodded at him in passing lots of times. That's ever really the first time I've ever had a chance to exchange with him. And I mean, it was just, a zinger after, just smart mouth kind of little comments. And every time I'd see him, just I'd throw a little something at him and he'd laugh, or,
What do you
have
do
a
if you
smart
wave
aleck.
at him?
Yeah, I don't know.
Does
He is so cool though, because
Yes.
he was signing in at the registration table right ahead of me, and he slipped a shoe off, slipped a sock up off, picked that pen up with his toes, and signed his name on his card. And
wonder what his penmanship's like.
I was trying
think
to
it's
look.
pretty
I think it's
good.
fairly decent.
Uh-huh.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I should have just walked over there and looked. But
let's see.
we're
when
not
was
at
it?
best friend status like Annalesha and
Jesse?
Broadwater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
If
know.
now you should have taken your shoe off
I
and
should
signed
have.
with your foot, Julie.
Should
Totally.
have off his shoe and high fived him.
I should have. Yeah,
I towed him.
I totally.
I told him.
Well, I think it was Nationals. I believe it was Nationals that he was signing autographs for kids.
Uh-huh.
And I was taking some pictures, and all the kids were gathered around. He was sitting down, signing everything with his feet, obviously. And I think one of the kids goes, "How do you do that?" He goes, "Well, take off your shoe." And they did like an impromptu, like trying to sign something. And the kid was like, "Wow."
He's such
How
an
you do it?
inspiration.
Yeah.
We whine and cry and
I know.
bellyache about the dumbest stuff, and then here comes Stutzman, and you get
I
to watch
know.
him
It
do
makes
this
me
stuff.
silly
It's
complaining
like,
because
wow.
my cat pooped in the tub earlier, but guess that's not very big deal.
And
And
she
my
could've,
God, the cat pooped in the tub.
Right, you could have waffle stomped it.
Did Kiefer tell you about that?
Yes.
Oh, he did, didn't
Yeah,
he?
when we were at Buzzard Billy's.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the funny thing at a campground is to waffle stomp.
You might as well tell it. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so this is going to be a new thing that people are going to ask me about. I guarantee it. So if you've got a poop and you're taking a shower, go ahead. You can just waffle stomp it down the drain.
Oh my God.
But you got to see when Kiefer explains it, because he kind of does this with his feet. And by this, I mean looks like a little river dance.
I'm not showering after Kiefer and now.
No, never.
I don't think he's ever been brave enough to do it, but he sure thinks it's a funny thing.
Yeah, poor Kiefer. He gets quite the education every time he goes somewhere, doesn't he?
Yes.
Whether it's camping or an archery tournament,
Yeah.
he sees and hears a lot of things.
Well, he is 15 now.
So did he come up with the waffle stomp?
Oh no,
Oh, somebody else did.
Cousin Larry.
Oh, so that's probably a real waffle stomper.
Well, the
But
things
it's
that come out
horrible.
of these young men's mouths. If I could tell you the names they've named their pop-ups, and I won't because they're not appropriate. But these young men come up with some crazy dandies. So they possibly were the original waffle stompers. I don't know. It may be a thing. I don't know. There may be a Facebook page. I don't know. But we never have
the waffle stomping group. Now I'm going to look it up later.
We never have a dull moment.
Well,
we always have a great time.
That kind of leads into Julie's bathroom situation.
Oh, does
near
it?
to the you were near the bathroom.
Which one?
I know.
There are so many.
We were both by the bathroom.
Isn't there like don't we have every episode we touch on
something with a bathroom or
and
potty habits of some sort?
Yeah. So,
yes, they did put us ladies by the bathroom.
Yeah, it was gross, and somebody said it was sauerkraut, but I have never smelled
it was sauerkraut
because
it smelled like a
the
dead
concession
animal.
stand was on the same end of the building, but on the other side. But it was disgusting. It didn't smell like sauerkraut to me.
Everybody said it was sauerkraut, so
it smelled like sewage.
It smelled like everybody ate sauerkraut and all went at the same time.
And Vince said he had heard somebody had vomited, I think, in the men's bathroom, and it hadn't been cleaned up. So I don't know if that's what we were getting a whiff of or what. It was awful.
I am so glad it stayed in my mind as sauerkraut, because I couldn't handle that, because it was so raunchy.
It was bad. And the group next to us, on the bale next to us, they all knew each other, and they were cutting up. And so, of course, the comments were all about the smell
of
and
the bathroom.
sauerkraut, and they kept the mood pretty light. It was
And Friday night, a friend of mine had shot, and she goes, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you said it was the sauerkraut. I thought it was the guy next to me's colostomy bag."
Oh no!
Yes, she did. She goes, "I kept getting grossed out. I had to leave there."
Oh,
It was bad. Whatever it was.
It was bad. Yeah.
Was it just the one day it
disgusting.
was bad, or did you?
Nope.
Well, we were
I
further
smelt it
down the second day, so I don't recall smelling it the second day.
I don't.
But
I think when I
it
walked
could've been
in and we put our bows together, I smelt it. But yes, we were further down. We're more towards
farther away from it.
Yeah, we were more towards the middle
Mm-hmm.
on Sunday.
Yeah. I didn't really notice it that much.
I didn't.
But I was on bale 5 the first day.
I was
So
on bale 2.
Oh,
I
you
was-
were?
Yeah.
Oh, but we were on different lines.
We
Yeah,
were.
so you were even closer. Well, bale 5, it was nasty. Whatever in the heck was going on.
I know it was, and at first I'm like,
It doesn't sound like the
it's-
poopery would have helped.
No, it would have had to been
It would have had to been
through
a
the
poopery
vent.
nuclear bomb or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And at first, I thought it was somebody around me.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my gosh, and we just talked about BO and all of that on the one episode. And I thought, geez, what is wrong with whoever it is? Is it me?
We did really spend a lot of time we were talking line etiquette about odors, and then here you go to the smelliest tournament ever.
Yeah.
Well, then
It was like shooting next to a porta potty on the second day
In
With
the
a-
hot
of an
summer.
ASA in Metropolis.
with a dead dog in it.
Yeah. And you have to shoot by the porta potty the whole time. I mean, it was pretty offensive.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and you would get waves of it. You
Yeah.
would start to get used to it, maybe. What is
And then
it?
a stronger wave would come and
And you're
hit
like,
you.
somebody walked by him.
Yeah. Not an exaggeration.
No.
Wow, that has to be a sewer line backed up or something. It
was
has to be.
something. It was not
It has to be something
sauerkraut.
from the drain pipe or.
Yeah. Because all of us around my bale, we all kept saying, we've never smelled sauerkraut like that. That cannot be what it is.
It did
just
smell like some. If it was, I don't know. That's what somebody told me, and I just kept it in my brain that that's what it was. That was the only way I could get through.
It's pretty
Because if somebody had told me that somebody's colostomy bag blew up in the bathroom, I wouldn't have been able to shoot down there. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, that was, made for an interesting day and an amusing story.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm. There's never not a story that comes away.
No. And then,
a shoot.
Like Sissy. She talk about Sissy.
Yeah, she actually she friended me or friended this podcast.
Is she the Danish?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Denmark? So that's Danish?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Her husband owns a shop over there.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in town, and her shirt even read it. Like, they had printed up shirts made for the Iowa Pro-Am and the dates they were going to be there. They also had
the ATA show.
The ATA show. So they're at the ATA show now and checking out.
Oh, so that makes sense. They came in early to do a little shoot and then go to the ATA, which isn't really that terribly far.
They did have something in between the two.
Okay.
They wanted to go to the casino because over there it's illegal. So they were so excited about going to the casino. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, they're over there. And she thought that Julia and I were nuts. Like, I even think, what'd she say?
You two crazy.
It was something like that. You two are crazy.
Yeah, I had her voice down, but I can't do it now because of her accent. I was trying to keep her accent in.
Isn't it a little Germanish sounding, or is it?
Yeah, because that's what where I thought she was from at first, and then she said that she was from Denmark. And
yeah, so she was on her bail day 1, and she was on my bail day 2.
Poor thing.
I know.
and then we were fairly close together on day 2. So I'd walk down there, or they'd walk over. And
yeah, she had dry eye, or hole in the eye, or scratch in the eye, or hair in the eye. We don't even know.
I don't know. My left eye was bugging me, and so Annalesha finally
she was
watered
like,
it.
I only have like 5 eyelashes, but every day I get like 1 in there. Like, in 5 days you'll have no
eyelashes.
She goes, I have a bald eye. This gal
and Sissy's looking at us like, what is wrong with you? So
she comes over, she trots over, and I've got squirt contact solution or whatever. She doesn't have contacts, but that's all I had. So I squirt that in her eye, and she trots back, and we both squirted some in our eye, so we looked like we were crying. So then we cried
like we
for a while
because we're dumb like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
everybody likes us. She just thought we were weird.
Yeah. I thought she was kind of fascinated though, because when she was on our bail on day 1, I don't know that she could see what we were doing when we were keeping score, because we were a few ends in, and all of a sudden she was over my shoulder and she said, oh, that's neat, or that's interesting. Mm-hmm. So the way we keep score and everything, I would assume is maybe a little different. I really didn't talk to her that much that day.
Now you're squinting your eye again, too.
Yeah, well, I have one eye that's bigger than the other. Maybe it's just that.
And now you're doing this because we're talking about that eye, and then now you're you won't stop blinking it.
I have the squirt.
Not around the electrical equipment. But she thought that was pretty neat, like the way we were keeping score. And like I said, I didn't really talk to her much. I was kind of in my own little world. I was, almost kind of felt almost like in a zone Saturday. So it's not like I was, being rude intentionally or anything. I was just kind of in my little bubble, and I was just rolling with it. And so I kind of regret not talking to her as much as I could have, because I would have loved to have learned more about her.
Right. And I didn't realize she was from Denmark for a while. At least like 3 ends in, and she told me I would have to slow down my speaking because she couldn't understand. English wasn't her first language, so I did, and we talked a little bit. Yeah, so it was fun.
It's one of those situations where you meet someone.
Yeah. And then she went back, those crazy Americans.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Well, I told her, I said, well, Julie and I do a podcast if you ever want to listen to us. and I believe she friended right away.
I think she did. She liked the page.
Did she?
So, Sissy, if you're listening, hello. Yeah. We enjoyed meeting you.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
I wonder if we could do a Skype. I don't know if it costs international on Skype or
that would be cool to talk to Sissy, get her on here.
Yeah, I mean,
find out what archery's like in Denmark.
Right.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I looked at her page a little bit and it looks like she's fairly high ranking over there too.
Good.
I mean, she's got some great pictures of her shooting too. I think she's an outdoor girl.
Yeah,
that's what I assume from some of her pictures. Yeah.
I don't know if she has shot this format before, because you know how traditionally you'll pull the top arrows and then the bottom arrows pull, and she was pulling her arrows on bottom, and I think I finally spoke up and said, "Let me pull mine first. That way, they're not in your face and." You'll have an easier time to pull yours. She said, "Oh, okay," and explained to her like at the half how we flip flop. And they might just do it that way. Maybe it was just
I went against grain this weekend or last weekend.
I can't remember the rules. You pull the top first. Is that it?
Yeah, I pulled bottom first because the gal that was shooting everybody on my bail was a lot shorter than me. So it does make a little more sense to not leave my long logs in their way to try to reach around.
Right.
So I did go ahead and take mine out, and I've had a little bit of anxiety about the length of time that people take to pull their arrows. Not that they took very long, but that I'm the last one pulling and then I got to run and shoot. So there's that too. So I did go against what I had said, and I did pull
So you
mine,
probably stand about 10 yards away and you just reach and reach around people like.
Yeah. I did ask beforehand. I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and can I do this?
I think I visualize you as being like Elastigirl off The Incredibles, like these just like giant, like you don't even have to walk off the line. I'll pull those. This big line.
Oh, I wish. Yeah. Man, I'd just bring my bow down there and start shooting them from a yard. Well, look at that.
Yeah, the mental picture is pretty good.
So some exciting things, since that's a segue into Sissies at the ATA. Some new stuff has come out. Yeah. I haven't watched very much, so if you guys want to talk
I watched
about that.
Bits and pieces today. I watched the Elite. Did you watch that, the live
I
video?
didn't do it when it was actually going on because I had students, and that might have been frowned upon.
Yeah.
Come on, gather around, kids. We're going to learn about Elite bows.
Shut up, you little brats. I got to see the new bows. But Cara did some Facebook Live, and I guess Rio Wild did too, but
and Christy Collin did a little bit.
Yeah, and so anyway, I watched it. But they had Bruce Buffer, the announcer from UFC fighting, and they also have Matt Hughes, who's a UFC fighter, do a lot of the presenting or whatever. So
yeah,
that's cool.
And they did it as more of the outdoor group. So they presented like the bows, the Elite bows, but also prior to that, the new Elite arrows.
They have some arrows.
So they have some arrows.
And the Scott releases, CBE sights. Yeah.
The new Scott releases look like they were hunting releases, but there wasn't anything close up video wise where you could see stuff. So it was like she was filming with her phone at a distance, and so you couldn't see stuff really super good.
Yeah.
But they have a bunch of new bows.
Yeah, 6 of them. And a couple of them are, have the split limb design now, like a lot of the other manufacturers. They have a bow that they're marketing specifically for youth.
Yes.
And then one that they're marketing specifically for women, and that one is the Impression. And then they have the other ones, the other 4 are, then, a little bit beefier. Like the minimum draw weight on some of them are 50 pounds. And the minimum draw length is 28 inches.
That was that.
There's a couple
that last one that they
26.
talked about. I think the minimum draw length was 28 inches, and then it went up to like 31. But then they had the roller guard, instead of the string guard. And what else was some of the features? I think
there's I think they have some sort of a new limb pocket design on their split limb bows.
So we sound like we're impressive. We know what we're talking about.
Well, they just now came out, and I didn't really have a lot of time today to really look.
No, I quickly watched
homework on them,
and then I saw I did see Bowtech had their Fanatic 3.0 is a new, like it's the Fanatic, an upgraded version, I guess. One thing I thought was cool about it is it had several spots where you could bolt your sight bar onto, like adjustable. It was pretty. It had a lot of 2 or 3 spots on it or something on the riser where you could adjust or where you could put the, so you had some options. You weren't stuck with, because something that limits how much yardage you can get out of it, or what kind of scope you can use,
or clearance,
or even clearance for that matter, right?
Veins and that sort of thing.
Exactly. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah. Speaking of Bowtech, Darren Rogers, we made fun of him. We were his good luck charm. We've got to kind of get in on this. He shot his first 300.
I saw that
in big competition, Vegas 300.
Yeah,
and he is shooting a Bowtech, and I think he's shooting that Bowtech better than anything.
Which one is he shooting? Is he shooting a Fanatic also, or?
I don't think it's the Fanatic.
I'm not sure.
I know it's a Bowtech, but Darren kind of changes bows about as often as he probably changes underwear. So
as much as Jim.
I think more.
That'd be hard to beat.
But no, really, I don't know if it's the same Bowtech. Is it a Boss or something like that? But he might have another one by now.
I'm not super familiar.
I don't pay attention
with all the Bowtech bows, but we also have to give some props to Bowtech, because the next time we do a giveaway, I should have brought that out here. I didn't bring that. We had begged for some goodies to give away
from numerous companies
a long time ago, and I didn't hear any, and not so many. I think I sent out like 8 or 10 letters, and then anyway, we meant to do it again, and then got sidetracked with life. Imagine that. And then out of nowhere, it was funny too, because right at Christmas time, a Bowtech box showed up. And so, I had a bunch of stuff coming in the mail for Christmas anyway.
What did Jim order?
It came in, and Jim saw it. He's like, "Well, we got a box from Bowtech," and blah, 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 blah. and then I messed with him for a little bit. I said, maybe I'm going to switch to Bowtech. You don't know, do you? And then I knew what it was by the size of the box. I said, "Oh my gosh, somebody actually finally responded."
That's awesome.
To those letters. But I was like, "We're a Lily podcast, and we need some stuff to give away. And can you please send us some things?"
That was good.
So we got 4 hats and 4, I think, the stickers, nice hats and stickers.
Yeah. And we've got some Carbon Express hats coming.
Yes, Christine Harrelson's gonna. I don't know if she's gonna be at one of the big shoots, or
I'm sure she will be.
Or is she gonna be in Vegas? Maybe she could.
I assume she's going to Vegas. I don't know if she'd want to mess with hauling them out there. I mean, I know they're just hats, but still. But Jim's going to Foley. I'm sure she'll be at Foley.
Yeah.
So that was nice of her to do that too.
I didn't look at the vendors if anyone had any giveaways this weekend. I didn't see anything.
I didn't even really go to the vendors this weekend. That's just how crazy my weekend was when I wasn't shooting.
I walked right by. I did get the sweatshirt. I mean, they're $20 sweatshirts, so that's pretty cool. But did you notice that Chris Berry at his Ozark Feathers has now come up with a swag bag?
I saw that and I thought of you.
I was like,
he called it a swag bag.
Yeah, I kind of knew that he was doing that, but I couldn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
And I might have, ribbed him a little bit when he was kind of asking people's opinions about it. And I just thought, Annalesha's not going to be happy about that.
So I see it, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
A swag bag? What is this? And I was like, that's what we call it. And he goes, I know you do. And that's all he said. And he walked away.
Well, he is an honorary diva, so I guess we can let him have that, right?
He can't have it, but he can share it.
Well, he can use the name.
Yeah.
But it was like a pre-put together kit for it with the glue and everything.
So you get your cock vein and then your regular veins.
Right.
2 different colors.
And I think they were color coordinated.
Yes, somewhat. I mean, yeah. And then it came with a tube of glue. Mm-hmm. Really good idea. Really good marketing idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
I like that.
We bought some feathers for me over the weekend for a smaller shaft. Mm-hmm. Can't wait to try them, but I have to figure out what arrow I'm shooting. I'm going to try the, like I said earlier, the Fat Boys, and we'll go from there. Because I got the smaller profile feathers. I didn't.
What did you drop your poundage? Did you drop your poundage down for indoor at all because of the number of arrows?
I've kind of bounced back and forth. It was lower, and then I felt like my anchor and everything didn't feel quite right.
Mm-hmm.
So we upped the poundage a little bit, and I was hoping by increasing the poundage that would help compensate for the
draw length a little bit.
Well, and the stiffness of the shafts, the spine, and I got to feeling like maybe I wasn't quite long enough again, and so we dropped it back down. We took a half a turn or a turn out of it, and it feels pretty good, but I still feel like it's just not exactly where I want it to be. I think it needs to be a little bit longer. My draw length needs to be let out just a little more.
I kept saying I had the same feeling. I let mine out right after I set it up from deer hunting about a month ago. I don't even remember. Back with a scope and stuff to shoot some 3D arrows, and it dramatically decreased my left and rights dramatically
by letting it out a little bit,
like by a lot. Like most of them are going down the middle now instead of one out. Yeah,
I keep telling everybody that
and
listen to me.
It's
I
an
think
eighth
it
of
needs
an
to be
inch.
A little bit longer. Yeah,
it wasn't a lot, but it's made a huge difference in my shots. Huge.
Because I feel like when I'm at full draw, my arm is a little bent, and so I kind of have to drop that shoulder and kind of push that shoulder blade out a little bit for it to feel.
Do you know which bow Christy Collins is shooting? Which one? Or did she?
I saw her for like 2 seconds, but I didn't see what she was carrying.
No, I didn't either. I actually saw her in the elevator at the hotel. And it was like hey, how you doing, real quick, and that's it. And that's the only time I saw her this weekend. Honestly, I really don't know what bow she's shooting. And I'm terrible about that because Vince will always ask me, so what arrows were the ladies in your group shooting? What bows were they shooting? I don't know. I don't pay attention to that.
I'm just curious about the elite because she just went to elite, and so I'm just curious which one she's.
I want to say she was shooting one of the victories, but I'm not positive about that.
Well, and then the new ones, they're gonna since they released them today, I'm sure they're all gonna pick up
probably
the newer ones.
I would say. I watched her Facebook Live video earlier, and I don't remember which one she was shooting. I'd have to go back and look at it, but the shot broke, and she just turned around and had this look on her face like, I saw that. I really like that. You can tell when somebody, you just know sometimes. Yeah.
What do you think? Have you paid attention at all to all the, it seems like every day for the last month or so, it's this pro went to this company and this pro went to that company. And I don't really get in there and read a lot of the, I'll see the announcement of the change, but I very seldom get in there and read all the comments. No,
I don't. I did chime in on Greg Poole's comment about bashing people for their decisions and how there's all these haters out there. Right. We need to start calling the haters out, and I chimed in on that, but it wasn't really to bash anyone or anything. It was just basically this is their livelihood. They've got to look after their financial decisions, their family. They've it's a business for them. It's not just a hobby and a passion like it is for some of us. It's more than that for them, and we don't have the room to sit back and judge them for their decisions.
Yeah, it's just like if somebody was, working for a company and you got this job opportunity to go somewhere else and make more money, still stay in your comfortable home. Why would you not go for the more money?
Well, and I listened to the Levi Morgan and Bo Junkie podcast. Okay, and I'm really not just trying to kiss their butts, but that was a really good. Let's put it this way. Greg Poole got on there and he was like really kind of harsh about,
all I hear is
you shouldn't be all critical of them. But he dug in and he asked Levi some tough questions. Yeah. I mean, if you listen to it, some pointed, what are you going to say about people who say this? And what are you going to, he asked him some point blank kind of tough questions. And Levi Morgan, I don't know if he'd planned, if he knew the questions ahead of time, but I mean, he was great.
He is a very well-spoken person.
He was very diplomatic. He was very well-spoken. He had, but one of the points that he brought up, you know, like I think on the surface, a lot of people thought, well, Matthews kicked out a whole bunch of people to bring on Levi. That's the outside. And Jesse,
Yeah.
and that's the perception, and there may be some. We don't know. The point that they were trying to make is like there's a lot of intricacies beyond that we just as the general public don't know,
right?
And so almost all of what we're seeing as the backlash is a lot of speculation.
One of the other comments I made on his thing, and I imagine that was one of the questions, I haven't listened to it yet, was at what point does a pro archer lose some credibility with people because they're here saying, you know, this brand is the best, blah, blah, blah. And then they switch companies. No, this brand is the best, blah, blah, blah. And he liked the comment. He didn't comment on it, but Paige Gore, I'm pretty sure it was Paige or Crystal Galvin, one of them chimed in and kind of explained it in a little better detail about, well, they're not just saying that this company's the best. They're saying that there's certain features that this company produces in their bows that a shooter really likes. And if they switch to another company, it's not necessarily the same features. Maybe they were looking for something else and this other company provided that.
And I would say that's probably true. Like maybe one shooter seems to adapt to a different style of bow because of their shooting style better. And so maybe for that particular shooter, that bow works better. I mean, I can tell you, Jim's tried to pick up a Matthews number of times and has struggled with it miserably several times. I just think however the bows are engineered or built does not shoot his style of shooting.
I can totally relate to that because I shot a Hoyt for a while and they're great bows and I loved how they felt, but I could not, my style of shooting and the Hoyt bows that I was shooting just didn't match up. It just
maybe you should hop on here because we're getting into the politically correct in whatever I don't know what.
We're talking about all the scuttlebutt with all the pros switching companies and everything, and
there's been a lot of talk about it. So and to be quite frank with you, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, and I just move on. I don't really care one way or another.
Yeah, I really don't either.
I don't give it too much.
It is really their choice. Yes, they do somewhat create followers for wherever they're seated, you know, when those people come in and they pick who they really like, those followers do. So there is a little bit of that. And I think that's where hurt feelings come in because they feel like they somewhat idolize these individuals and they kind of emulate what they do and you know, whatever they buy or the way they stand or what they pick. And I think that's where the hurt feelings come in. Yeah, haters gonna hate.
Yeah. Well, and the question was, what motivates these people to hate? You know, why do haters hate? And a lot of people just want jealousy.
I think
they're jealous.
I think in archery and bow hunting also, there's just a lot of people that have just really strong opinions.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be about antlered deer or how you shoot or how far away the deer is or how close it should be or whether gun hunting's good or bad or
just very passionate.
Whether a Hoyt's better than a Matthews or, you know, I mean, people get really stuck. They're just,
yeah.
You know, it's almost as bad as politics.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of those passions are as strong as that. And it's easier to be like that from the safety of a computer or a phone or, you know, we've talked about that before.
If anyone walked up to Jesse and was to start, I mean, that would just, I can't even imagine it.
I want him to turn around and say,
person.
They paid me fat bank and I'm going to stay here.
No, I think Jesse went out very honorably. He talked about how he enjoyed shooting Hoyt and they were a great company and he idolized someone from a very young age that shot a Hoyt and that's where it all started for him. So I think kind of the same thing is like he idolized somebody that shot a Hoyt, so he wanted to shoot a Hoyt, so he's always shot Hoyt. I think that's where some of the anger comes from. Yes, there is, I mean, jealousy and the money maybe, But I think it's more of everybody invests so much. Oh, he shoots Hoyt. I'm going to shoot Hoyt.
Right. It's like I don't want to say their whole identity is wrapped up in that, but a little, a little bit of a sense of identity that you can identify with this great archer,
Right.
and a little bit of a sense of belongingness.
I shoot the same bow as Jesse Broadwater. I
Right.
shoot
Right.
the same release.
And I wonder if some people maybe feel a little betrayed.
yeah.
Like I
by
bought
that
this bow
person.
because I thought he was going to shoot
Yeah.
a Hoyt, and now he switched to Matthews.
Right.
But let's
and not understanding the deeper, more intricate details that
Right.
at the end of the day, for these guys, this is a business. This
Right.
is a
Sure.
livelihood for them.
Oh, and there's things in that contract that none of us have any idea about. And
right.
and so I'm sure for the archer in that decision, you get a lot of things that play into it that we as the public are just not even aware of, in terms of even how much travel do they maybe have to do, or how many appearances, or what some of the requirements are on them. And gosh, do I have a family? Do I ever want to see my kids? Is this contract demanding too much? Should I go over here because this one's, or vice versa?
Right.
It could be anything. We don't know, I guess, is the point.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the requirements of the contract.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that Levi was talking about. Some of these people had left Matthews, but we don't know
Why?
what all those circumstances,
Yeah.
what their contract requirements were. People kind of made some assumptions. I think the public did, that maybe we just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that was the point. But I thought Greg Poole asked him some tough questions, and he was
handled
he
it
was
well.
very diplomatic. Yeah, he was great. He was great. I thought.
Ran into him one time at an ASA, and he was on a mission. He was headed somewhere, and I just stopped him real quick and said, "Hey, can I get a picture with you? My son idolizes you. You're his favorite." And he was so kind and gracious and just the coolest guy ever. And he just stopped and, we took a picture, and I said, "Thanks, for your time," and went on.
I should actually kind of complete that too, because it was really him and Samantha on there, and that was very much a joint decision. For them both, because she's going to shoot it too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was very much a family thing. So,
and I think Levi wants to get in the scuttlebutt, whether it's true or not, wants to get in more into more of the creative process with designing the bows and the equipment and everything. And I
that
think
might be,
that might have been a deciding factor for him too. Is he's
have
going to
some
be able to do
input
that.
in the engineering side.
Yeah, that's the rumor I've been hearing or reading about. But like I said, I'm in no position to judge.
But all in all, I mean, most of them are pretty good bows from all the companies, frankly.
Yeah. And like you said earlier, I think a lot of it boils down to what specifications are you looking for in a bow, and which of those matches up to your particular shooting style. I prefer a more parallel limb design. But I didn't know that about myself until I got away from that and then went back to it. So now that I know,
I think the best I ever saw you shoot, honestly, was with a hunting bow, with that Bowtech hunting bow.
that equalizer, and it had a parallel limb design, and so my 35, that's what that has, and so yeah, it just suits me.
I think
Somebody's needing some attention. It's been
my
like an
gosh,
hour
he's
since
hugging
anybody
his
paid
Hoyt.
attention to him.
I know.
Over there petting his Hoyt. Stroking the Hoyt. But yeah, it's been interesting.
Well, maybe that's why I kind of like this Elite too, because my first target bow was that I had a Hoyt Tricon, which was a parallel limb bow. So
Yeah,
I
and
don't
you're
know.
really liking this Elite, aren't
Yeah,
you?
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's taken me some getting used to, and I think this final adjustment on my draw length has helped tremendously. It's made me like it a lot better.
Good.
I can tell you that.
If I had to point out a flaw or a complaint in my bow, it is a booger to let down. There is just no smooth way to let that
No,
sucker
there
down.
isn't. There isn't.
Because you've got to whop it over that 85%
Yes.
let off.
Yeah, it's almost like you've got to push it back together.
It does. Well, you're letting down. You're
and
letting
it's
down.
not not graceful. It's just like boom. It's just like you're there. Yeah, it's gonna go nice and thunk, and it's back together. There's just no way I can let it down.
That's why I was
gracefully.
struggling with a hinge with it so much. And it wasn't ever when I was at full draw. It was while I was drawing it, or if I had to let it down. I kept cutting arrows loose accidentally.
Letting it down.
Either in the process of drawing or in the process of letting down, because it's kind of violent.
Yeah, it's sneaky.
Sneaky.
It's sneaky. Like
I mean, you get a lot of arm into it until it pops over that and dumps it off. Once it dumps it off, man, you can practically fall asleep behind it and hold it at full draw.
I'm thinking 85%. Wow. Yeah. I have 70. I feel like that's plenty.
Yeah, it's easy to hold it.
And a lot of times I hold it way harder than I need to. A lot of times I'll get, and I'm like, oh wait, relax. Oh wow, I can really relax.
I'm gonna take a nap.
I know, that's what it's. But so yeah.
Oh, there's Barb sleeping on the line again. Hey, Barb, you're 4 minutes.
You haven't shot any arrows.
She still got one holstered.
Anyway.
Yep.
So, sorry, I didn't mean to touch on the topic of that, but I thought that podcast was really great. I was like, wow, he just did a really great job because there was so much buzz on the internet about it, and I was like, that dude's I'm really
not
impressed.
Just in every shop I went to,
well,
everywhere
Levi's
I
shooting.
Shot. Yeah, like everybody was talking about it.
He's like the Elvis of archery. I mean,
the Elvis. Levi has left the building.
Well, I kind of.
Well, really, if we call him Levi's, isn't that right? Wouldn't that be Elvis?
We got to figure.
Levi's.
Wow, you just come up with something.
I did.
No, I
Nappy
think
shows out with dark hair and some sideburns, some black sideburns,
a white jumpsuit. He's shooting a white jumpsuit now.
Oh, well, okay.
Or no, I guess it would be a black and gold jumpsuit.
Yeah,
rhinestones.
Yes, exactly. That would be fantastic.
I kind of think of him like as a package deal, though. He's so charismatic. He speaks well. He speaks highly for who he's shooting for. It is a package deal. They get his beautiful wife too. He's running big tournaments.
Well, he
People
gets to keep his wife.
him.
He doesn't have to give her up.
No, but I mean, like his wife. Yeah. So, and I mean, he does a hunting show. I mean, he to me is like The Rock to WWE. Like he's kind of the face,
but he's got hair.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's the face. He's good speaker.
Yeah, he is very popular.
Great personality.
The other thing too that was kind of interesting about that podcast, and I would love to see if Samantha would ever talk to us. I may try to do that sometime. But she talked a lot. Of course, she's not been practicing as much because of the baby, and really kind of touched on that challenge of the family. And that's the thing that women. Seem to have a lot more.
We have a lot more on our plate.
Yeah.
So not that men don't go to work and work hard and strain their muscles, and like Keith comes home and he's hauled I don't know how much sheetrock and can hardly lift his arms, but yet we still go to league. I mean, there's that. But we gave birth to a human being. And
that's a lot of responsibility.
We win.
Yeah, we totally win. And just like Julie was saying, there's that she was talking about how much she needs to protect her son or feels that need, the bond you two have, and I feel the same with my son, and not that we don't have it with our daughters too, but there's just something about your son.
We went to eat after we shot Sunday, and I don't know, Keith was, he was doing something, and Annalesha was, I can't remember what led up to it. Oh, you baby him, I think is what he said, that Annalesha babies Kiefer. And I kind of crawled up in his business a little bit, not hateful or anything. I said, Keith, you don't understand because you're a man, but when you're a mom and you have a son, there's just, it's different than when you have a daughter. It's just different.
It is. And by the way, my son texted me in the middle of this and wants to know the passcode to DirecTV. So he
take care of him, Mama.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are the ones that everybody comes to, and we do have to comfort when anybody's feeling bad. So there is a lot of things that take our mind off of archery. And
well, and that was kind of what she was talking about.
Yeah.
She was like, I think she's kind of like, this is her first child, and you could just hear that. I don't want to use the word struggle, but I think it's definitely clear that, you know, they're family first and they're very Christian, and the son obviously becomes a big responsibility and it comes first, and archery's kind of taking a little bit of a back seat. And I think there's part of her that's like, you know, I think you get a little torn there. You like, you really love your family and your kids, and you have that responsibility, and that's all great. And I love to do that. But man, I really love archery, and I really like to spend more time practicing and shooting better. And so you could hear that she was, she talked a little bit about that. I don't want to say the word struggle, but I think she just had that challenge of balancing those things. And where do you spend time and focus?
It will get easier for her
and
when the baby is older.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's 3 or 4, something like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Those are hard years when they're, you know, running around and getting into things. And
I got an 18-year-old or 21-year-old daughter, and she's still a
what was that?
She's still a. And then he made a noise.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but the whole family and the priority thing. That's just like it's the deal with my son, and he had the ruptured appendix, and you know, we thought everything was going well, and then he texted us Friday night the night before we're leaving for Iowa, and said, I'm running a fever. And, you know, and so I told him what I thought he needed to do and everything. And I told him, and I was telling you guys before we started recording, I don't care what time it is, what the reason is. If you think you're having a problem, you call us, and we will stop what we're doing, and we will turn around and come home immediately.
Right. And he's out of the house, and but see,
yeah,
it never
he's
ends.
out and on his own. But yeah, there's no way that I was going to go up to a tournament and not basically lay that on the line. You better contact us. I don't care what it is. We will come home.
Right.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
As a parent, it just
never ends.
Yeah.
And
it has to be family first. I mean, your family has to come before archery.
And that's okay. We need to give ourselves a pass for
so
that.
watch Jim say, gotta quit recording our new dinner or something.
I'm hungry, babe. What's for dinner?
Pizza.
Yeah, he did. He got carried out. He'll live.
Go make a sandwich.
See, I made this wonderful dinner at home and had to come drive 45 minutes in massive traffic. The worst traffic.
It was really bad tonight.
It was terrible tonight. Never has it been that bad, but then I had to eat a bowl of cereal before I came. So I hope there's some left when I get home.
Yeah, I went home and grabbed leftover taco stuff and made a taco, and out the door I went. Poor Vince, I think he was going to eat like a
bologna sandwich.
Little Del Monte microwave or whatever. Dinty-Moore, that's a microwave thing for supper. I don't know.
Aww.
He's on his own. Poor guy.
He'll live.
Maybe. I don't know. He's made it this long, so chances are he's going to keep going.
Well, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? I mean,
no, not really. It's nice
talked about the ATA and Iowa. And
well, the ATA is going to be going on from now till this is
Thursday, I believe.
Yeah, so we'll get lots more. Maybe we could talk somebody into talking to us that went there.
Oh, I'm sure we could.
Week. Who knows?
Bailey's there.
Yeah,
she got to go.
Bailey and Bailey.
Yeah, Bailey and Bailey. Bailey squared.
Bailey squared.
I talked to her for 2 seconons in the restroom. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the chance to talk to her much this
weekend. I didn't either. I wished her good luck.
I did too.
That was about the extent of it.
Do we know how well she did?
She finished 5th, I think. She did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm really proud of that little squirt.
They haven't shown that they don't have the final results up yet.
Well, I think they do now.
Yeah, I think they do now.
Because
Brianna Theodore, a gal that used to shoot with me for Team OK, and she won.
Yeah,
the
she
Pro
did.
Division.
Yep, she sure did.
And
Paige Gore and Sarah Lance, those were the top 3.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Oh, wait, Bailey finished. I think Bailey was in 5th after the first day. She's 9. She finished 9th.
That's not bad.
No, not bad at all.
Yep. But I'd like to have Brianna on the podcast. We need to interview her. That was her
Mm.
first pro win.
Let's do it next week.
And she was 16 when she won and turned 17 the next day.
Wow.
So, and she had a bunch of problems. She came up to me and she goes, "Do you have any more pants I could wear?" Her pants
That's
ripped
a big.
out.
That's a.
I know. Her pants ripped out. And it was all she brought. And of course, she lives up in Minnesota. So, and she didn't have her folks with her. I don't think her dad was there. I didn't see him. I think she came down with another pro. And so she didn't have any britches. She goes, do you think these look okay? And I was like, yeah. She's such a cute girl, so she should never ever worry about that. But she goes, and they ripped all the way down. And I was going to wear my leggings underneath. You think you would notice? I said, just for what you got on. So she's a really cute gal and fun to talk to. So she'd be a good interview.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to talk about maybe getting her on the next couple
Okay,
months.
we'll get our act together. Hopefully, we'll avoid sickness, good weather,
Right.
and get some podcasts out. And
Right. Except, tournaments are all fired up again. So
Yes.
we're going to throw that into the mix with indoor tournaments. And you guys are going to be traveling to ASAs. So listeners, be patient, please. We're getting it done
Trying.
as we can. But
Yeah.
we appreciate you.
All right. If you guys want to get a hold of us if you have an idea on a podcast you want to hear, get a hold of us on Facebook, and it's Bo Divas Podcast. Then the other ones.
Yeah, forget them.
Yeah.
it's just, most people interact on Facebook, Bo Divas Podcast, and some other stuff. So
Yeah.
there you go.
There you go.
There you
Some
go.
other stuff.
Some other stuff.
But yeah, we like to hear from you
Message
guys.
us, though, if there's something you want to hear
Yeah.
about, an interview, whatever. Let
Yeah.
us know.
Mm-hmm. Somebody besides Kevin.
Well, I mean, Kevin's fine.
Kevin can tell us what he wants to hear.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that. But, if anybody has any ideas, we're always open for suggestions. If anybody wants to give us anything to give away for our swag giveaways.
Yeah.
Anybody know a company that likes to donate to...
Yeah, Chris Berry, since you stole swag bag, I think maybe you owe us.
Maybe
You
he
shoulda
should give
gave
us a
us a
swag
swag
bag
bag.
You
to
could give
give
us
away.
a swag bag. That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Well, he'll be at the Pro-Am.
We'll
Yeah,
nail him
we'll
down.
hit him up. Okay.
All right. Well, I feel like it's a wrap.
Yep.
All right, it's a wrap.
See
Thank
you, Barb.
everybody.
See you, Julie.
Bye.
See
Bye.
ya. Bye. And welcome everybody to another episode of the Okay, let's start that up.
That flatlined.
So, Annalesha, what have you done this week in archery? I guess that's like a Freudian slip. Is that it?